Hey everyone, it's Cole from A Powersports. I'm going to go over your brand new HD11, and in this video we're going to do break-in procedures and just a quick once-over to show you how to operate all the different features we have on the brand new Defender. The first thing I want to touch on is our break-in procedure. So being a new engine, a new vehicle, we need to drive this very carefully. So I tell everyone the first tank of fuel is really our true break-in time. Can-Am displays it as 10 engine hours or 200 miles on the machine, but we want to be very nice to this. So not towing heavy loads. We don't want to be seeing full throttle operation, and just drive it nicely and it's going to treat you well for the life of the machine. Our break-in or maintenance schedule for this, Can-Am, it's 200 hours, 2,000 miles, or 1 year from the date of purchase. So what that's going to be is the first service. I recommend you bring it back to the dealership you purchased it from, or hopefully A Powersports, but we're going to change our engine oil and oil filter, front differential fluid, and our transmission fluid. We want to change that out right away, and then your owner's manual will give you the full breakdown for your maintenance record and schedule. Make sure you keep record of this or have like a little binder or folder at home, and we need that for warranty issues. Your fuel tank is located right behind the driver's seat or the driver's side rear passenger seat on the left-hand side. You're going to hold about 12 gallons of fuel. You'll see a sticker here that says E10. So this vehicle is designed to run regular 87 ethanol fuel. So nothing more than 10% ethanol, but I also recommend you run premium fuel. So the ethanol is fine to run if we have to. This vehicle will run it, have pretty much no issues with that. But longevity-wise, premium fuel doesn't break down as quickly as ethanol will, and that's why I recommend premium in your vehicle. Your air filter is located behind the rear left-hand side and underneath the dump box. So when we lift this up, and I can't stress this enough, an air filter is the most neglected service part on any off-road machine. So these aren't like cars. You're not on roads where there's no dust. You're in dusty conditions or out in the snow plowing, getting water into this. We want to make sure that you're cleaning air filters and maintaining these as they should. So I'm going to show you how to access that, and we'll go from there. Our air intake is located right above the fuel tank here. So this is our pre-filter screen. This is going to keep out big material and let just fresh air in. And then it comes down into a charge tube and goes into our air box. So there's 3 clips that you will take these off with. And this lid lifts up and pulls back. Just set that off to the side. And our air filter sits in here. So Can-Am runs a very big canister style filter with this. Can-Am does run mostly Donaldson filters, which is one of your highest quality air filters you can get. So this is a paper filter, paper mesh we'll call it. I never recommend you change this to other than just a Can-Am part. The reason is if you go with an aftermarket, like a racing filter, yeah, it lets more air in, but it's also going to let more dust in with the conditions that an off-road vehicle is living its life in. People always ask me, can you blow this out? Yeah, technically you could. I never want to see people blowing with compressed air into the filter. I always want to see it from the outside out, that we're pushing all the particles out of the filter. I don't recommend doing this more than maybe once on the filter itself if we have to, but change it. It's an easy, simple part to change, and it will keep your engine running a lot longer with a fresh air filter in it always. We're going to access our engine oil dipstick and show you how to check that. But another thing I want to note, in this position with the box up, we can remove this pin and our dump box will fold all the way back. This makes it very easy to service your Defender and access the rear engine compartment. Engine oil dipstick is located right here behind the engine, and this is a threaded dipstick, and it has a rubber O-ring seal on this to keep dust and water out of there. But if we want to check this, we have to unthread this all the way. You'll pull it out just like a car, check it, put it back in. Another thing we can access easily is our spark plugs. There is 3 spark plugs up on top of our engine. If those have to be replaced, they're easy to access. Another important tip is our belt and clutch break-in period on this. So being a brand new machine, we have brand new belt, brand new clutches. Can-Am recommends about 30 miles is what true belt and clutch break-in is. And so if you replace a belt, even after a couple thousand miles, you should be breaking in the new belt in about 30 miles. So what I'm recommending most people to do with this is use low gear when you're supposed to, especially. So you shouldn't go through belts or slip belts on these CVT style clutches. They're very, very strong. If you did, you most likely were in high gear when you should have been in low. And when to use low gear. So the most important part with this is anything under 15 miles an hour. So if you're just putzing around the yard, picking up sticks, rocks, moving slow under 15 miles an hour, you should always be down in low gear. When you're out on the road routes or trails or out riding faster than 15, that's when we'll pop it up into high gear. But I'm going to show you where the belt and clutches are and what to do if you get water in them. To give you guys a quick brief breakdown of how a CVT style works. So your engine is connected to your primary clutch that's spinning even at idle. So it's spinning very fast, whatever RPM you're at. Usually these are going to idle around like 1,000 RPM. So it's spinning at 1,000 revolutions a minute. So it's making a vacuum or like a fan in there. So it's sucking fresh air into this clutch setup. And then there is an exhaust tube to let the hot air out. And that's about the same height as the top of our tires. So I don't want to see people going over water over the tires, because then we can risk getting water into our CVT clutch cover here. If that happens, winch yourself out and keep the engine idling. There is a drain plug down in the bottom that we can pull, and as it's idling, it's going to push the water out and dry that system out. Water acts as a lubricant in there, so your clutches will not allow you to move once they get wet. At the rear of our new Defender, we have a 2-inch receiver for towing. Again, if you're going to tow something, you should be in low gear. But I want to talk about suspension. So our shocks in the rear and the front are very similar to each other. And from the factory, they come on setting 1, which is your softest, smoothest riding setting from the factory. If we're going to do a lot of heavy towing or loading a lot of weight into the rear dump box, we can take a spanner wrench and tighten this up. So there's a little like set bar here that you can turn your shocks up if we are noticing our suspension sag a lot because we're working it hard. We're up by the front hood right now. To access this location, there's 2 tabs that you just push in, and then this opens up. Under the front hood, the main thing I want to show is our fuse location. So our fuse box is here, and they're all labeled. If we're having electrical issues and we're popping fuses, you can quickly access them. Underneath this cover, this is where if we had to jump start the battery, or the vehicle I should say, it's under here. So we have our red positive and our black negative. You can hook jumper cables here to start the engine without having to access the actual battery itself. The battery location on our Defenders is underneath the seat. So we can lift these up and we'll have our storage container. We can pop this out. And our battery is located underneath this black box here. So there's 2 quarter turns that you would pull. And then this whole piece will remove and your battery is located under there. The winch being located in the front of the vehicle lets you get out of a stuck situation. But the nicest thing is if you are not with another person, you don't have to hold the button inside the dash to let the winch out. You can unlock it on the left-hand side. There is a free spool, we call it, with the winch, and you can pull this out by hand, tie off to a tree. Make sure you lock it back into position, and then use the dash switch to pull yourself out of the mud. You're going to get 2 different tilt features for our steering wheel on the HD11. First one is on the right-hand side. This lets you actually tilt the steering wheel to a comfortable position. To make it easy to get in and out of the cab, you can push that lever down and totally push the steering wheel out of the way. When you get back in, lock in, and that's where it was at our previous position. You'll notice every time you start your machine, the low beam is automatically on. So this is nice out on the trails. You have to have low beams on at least, and the vehicle does it for you. If you want them off, you're going hunting for the day, you hold this down and it shuts off the headlights. And then obviously high beam is up. Our winch control rocker switch is over here. There's a little storage box off to the side along with phone storage. This is a good spot to put your cell phone and keep it from bouncing all over the place. So we have a parking brake on this vehicle. So it's very simple. You push down on our brake pedal and lift up on this lever and you hear it lock in. There's a couple different ratchets to it so you can really apply some pressure. Now to release this, push the brake and ready to go. We have a gated style shifter, so park is all the way to the top. And we have reverse, neutral, high, and low gears all the way down at the bottom. The nice thing with the gated shifter is that you can't deny that you're locked into a gear. It's always going to be there. We can also display this over on our screen. So you can see we're in low gear. As I shift this around, now we're in high. But make sure when you're stopped, you always put it back to park. All of the Defenders have a push to start engine. So you have to put your foot on the brake and hold this down to start the engine. It's not like a car where it's going to automatically start. You have to keep holding this. You'll learn that very quickly if you mess up. Power steering is our DPS. So dynamic power steering, we can control minimum, medium, and max. Set it to your personal preference, however you like to have that. 2 and 4-wheel drive. So you can hear the 4x4 click there. If we want to have true 4-wheel drive where everything is locked in the front and rear, you would click lock the rear diff and then also lock the front diff. Our last button is engine mode. So as you press this, you can see on the screen, we can put it in sport mode, normal mode, and work mode. This changes how fast the throttle responds to you. It's personal preference, but trail riding typically is on normal mode. When you're working or towing the vehicles, you want to be in work mode. Use these in the yard and you'll kind of get a feel for how the throttle is responding to you. All occupants should always wear their seatbelt, but the driver, especially if you are moving this vehicle, you are governed to only 15 miles an hour unless you have your seatbelt clipped on. Another cool feature is our center console folds down for some more storage and cup holders. That's a quick once over on your brand new Defender HD11. If you guys like this video, hit that like and subscribe button. If you have any questions, leave a comment in the section below. If you want to see what we have in stock, check out aplusride.com. And as always, thanks for watching.